Everyone in this world worships a white tiger, because I am the ultimate product of human experimentation, and humanity's last hope in this world of giant beasts. Not only do I carry the bloodline of Godzilla, king of monsters, I also have the genes of countless ancient titans fused into my body. So every day, thousands of people are assigned to groom my fur, and over 100 kilograms of meat are brought to feed me each time. But lately I noticed something has been growing inside my body. Every bit of energy I absorb from my meals gets drained away by this thing. What's worse, even though I howl in protest every single day, the research staff never once considered that I might not be getting enough food. The only one who ever helped was Henry. He only visited a handful of times, but the red serum he brought could keep me going for days. But Henry has been gone again, and when I try to communicate with my keeper Owen, they simply don't understand me. I'm losing my mind from hunger. To be fair, this really isn't Owen's fault. From his perspective, feeding me a tenth of my body weight daily should be more than enough. At the very least, it should be half filling, so it never crosses his mind. Instead, he assumes something else is disturbing my mood. And now, my eyes blazing red with hunger, I finally snap. With a roar that shakes the heavens, I launch myself into the air and clear that pathetic fence with ease, staging yet another great escape. Warning, warning, white tiger is out, white tiger is out. Red alarms blare across the facility, yet everyone in the control center looks completely calm. Lori, the glasses-wearing guy, sips his coffee without a shred of urgency and turns to Whitey. Wanna guess how long the white tiger stays out this time? I bet an hour. I say 30 minutes. And honestly, you can't blame them for being so relaxed. The white tiger is hands down the smartest and most docile animal they've ever encountered. Even when I'm feeling unwell, I politely let out a single roar to get their attention, then thoughtfully lie down and let them run their checks. Compare that to the carnivorous dinosaurs. Even the relatively gentle Triceratops doesn't always cooperate with the staff. And with bodies that massive, one careless move is enough to send a person flying. Next to them, my calm and quiet nature makes me seem downright friendly. What is everyone doing? A sharp voice cuts through the room. The two chatting men instantly sit up straight and pretend nothing happened, like students almost caught goofing off in class. The other staff, who had been doing their own thing, drop their phones and gadgets the moment they hear their boss's voice, switching from casual to serious in an instant, all eyes locked on their monitors as if hard at work. Claire takes it all in without a word. As someone who's been there herself, she completely understands the impulse. And yes, she knows full well how obedient and gentle the white tiger is. This little escape is no big deal at all, but appearances must be kept. The white tiger has a GPS tracker installed. Pull it up now and find out where he's headed. On it. Something's off. Quick-eyed Lori rushes the signal data onto the main screen and freezes the moment he sees the movement trail. Every single person who looks up at the screen drops their jaw. Am I seeing this right? No, I'm seeing it too. Same here. What the? Nobody can blame Lori for swearing right now, because on the screen, a red dot is blazing across the map at 100 kilometers per hour. Even more insane, that dot is tearing straight through a dense forest in a perfectly straight line. Claire sees the anomaly too, but her composure as operations manager holds firm. She begins issuing orders. Pull up every surveillance feed along that route. I want a live picture of what the white tiger is doing right now. Also, alert all personnel in his path and evacuate them immediately. Use electronic signals to drive the dinosaurs along that route clear. We cannot let them make contact. As Claire's steady orders flow out one by one, the tense hall fills again with the rapid clatter of keyboards, a sound they normally hate, now oddly reassuring. Where is Dr. Wu? I need to speak with him. Claire turns to her female assistant. She doesn't know much about the white tiger, only that it's the latest gene fusion hybrid to come out of the lab. Even Owen probably knows more than she does. She's the operations manager, not the head of animal husbandry. She can talk the talk about these creatures, but she's nowhere near an expert. Dr. Wu received a call and left for Chicago. He won't be back for about a month. Damn it. The news hits Claire hard. Her expression darkens. She slaps her palm in frustration and her mind goes straight to cursing the construction crew for taking so long with the wall. After my first escape, the team acknowledged that my jumping ability was just a tiny bit beyond what they'd expected and decided to build a 30-foot containment wall to hold a tiger nearly 5 meters long. And considering my growth rate, that was just phase 1. Phase 2 calls for a 50-foot wall. 4 months later, the wall stands at a whopping 25 feet. The workers clock out exactly on the 8-hour mark every single day, and there's nothing she can say about it. If it were a crew from the east, they'd have finished in 2 months. Notify the control team. Send out a retrieval squad fully equipped. Bring it back. We've done it before, remember? This is just another run-through. Claire says the words even as she half-doubts them herself. Bringing in a 300-kilogram Tiger King and wrangling a 3-ton tiger-shaped monster are two completely different things. But for now, all she can do is hope the team performs, and that the white tiger is still the same gentle giant as before. Just thinking about it gives Claire a headache. Who on earth is even qualified to handle this? Call our top keeper and ask him how exactly he's been looking after our prized animal. No need to call, I'm already here. Owen strolls in with Davis like he owns the place. The black-suited security guard who moves to stop them takes one look at the shaved-headed, broad-shouldered man towering over him and steps back without a word. Claire, however, doesn't flinch. Barely contained fury written across her face, she steps forward. I'd like to know exactly how our star-keeper has been taking care of our prized animal. Owen meets her with a belly full of grievances of his own. Well, I'd love to know what kind of tiger grows to 16 feet long. and gets slapped with the title Far East Giant Tiger on top of it. And do you know it cleared 25 feet right in front of my eyes? If it weren't for its gentle nature and total disinterest in humans, I guarantee not a single person on that site would have survived. Claire knows she's in the wrong here, but she's a victim in all this too. She has no idea what genes Dr. Wu spliced in. That's a question for Dr. Wu, not for me. Then where is Dr. Wu? Owen, who once held a decent impression of that friendly scientist, now just thinks the man is completely out of his mind, willing to throw any gene into the mix without a second thought. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we've got the camera feed. Come take a look. Laurie's voice breaks the standoff, and both sides take the opening to step back. All eyes turn back to the big screen. Through the tree-mounted cameras, the footage reveals a massive corridor ripped straight through the forest, a sight that makes the stomach drop. Mighty trees that once grew thick and intertwined, now lie shifted and shattered, their splintered trunks ragged and uneven, wood chips scattered everywhere, as if some unstoppable bulldozer had steamrolled straight through. Shattered trunks lie scattered across the ground in every direction, their once lush canopies now a tangled mess. The quiet of the natural forest is gone, replaced by a landscape of chaos and ruin. The earth is churned and upturned, scattered with rocks of all sizes, and the air hangs heavy with the raw smell of broken wood and freshly torn soil. He did all of this? Owen can barely believe it. In all his time with the white tiger, he watched it gently sidestep even the smallest sapling, as if harming any young life were a sin. Nothing like this blind, rampaging wreckage. I believe so. Claire presses both hands lightly over her lips, suppressing a rising gasp. She almost thinks it looks like a brachiosaurus went berserk through here. Look at that one. At Davis's words, all three shift their gaze to a collapsed tree on the side of the screen. Based on the debris at the scene, that fallen giant had a trunk at least 2 feet across, yet the direction it fell suggests something enormous slammed into it with brute force. It just doesn't look like something a carbon-based life form could do. And as the camera pans, the view bursts out of the forest and onto the open grassland. Everyone stares at what's there and gasps in unison. Oh my god. Right now, every inch of my body is screaming in discomfort. The feeling is like 1,000 tiny insects crawling wild beneath my skin. From skin to muscle to bone, not a single part left in peace. My muscles ache as though I've just pushed through an insane workout, heavy as if filled with lead. Every move demanding enormous effort, yet completely at odds with the wind-splitting speed I'm running at right now. And the faster I run, the more I feel something unlock inside me, like someone who has never been able to run, taking their very first steps, and embracing everything that was always meant to be theirs. More than the numbing tingle spreading through my whole body, what I feel most clearly is my own skeleton creaking, like it could snap apart at any second. And that is the kind of pain that cuts straight to the soul. Meanwhile, deep inside my gut, that strange crystal core is pulsing like mad, beating even faster than my own heart. From that place I feel a hunger that screams through every cell in my body. I need to eat, now. Ever since Henry first showed up, and looking at the size I've grown to, I've long since figured out that I'm a gene fusion hybrid too. I just have no idea what's actually in my genetic blueprint. These strange symptoms must be coming from whatever unknown genes were spliced into me. Ever since I started interacting with Owen, my body has kept right on growing at the same relentless pace, to the point where even those closest to me might not recognize me anymore. And on top of that, I've discovered I can apparently do what the Indominus Rex does: activate thermal vision and optical camouflage. I've even noticed my stripes can glow on command. What am I, a firefly? But none of that matters right now. What matters is that I'm about to lose my mind from hunger. Through my thermal vision, I spot a mass of large heat-radiating bodies to the south, clearly dinosaurs. I'm past caring about their size or how many there are. Right now, all I want is to take one down and eat. Finally, pushing myself to the very edge of my controlled speed. In no more than 3 or 4 minutes, I burst onto the open savanna. The greatest gifts of a feline are stealth and explosive power. Those unmatched elongated canines and bone-crushing bite force make it the most terrifying hunter in all of nature. The moment I charge out, I find myself face to face with the nearest triceratops. Roughly 3 meters tall, 7 to 8 meters long, topped off with that massive armored frill. 2 massive brow horns and a shorter nose horn. A walking armored tank. The triceratops startles at my sudden appearance, but quickly regains its composure. 10 tons of body weight and a colossal frame give it all the confidence it needs. From where it stands, I probably look no bigger than a juvenile triceratops, so it gives me a low warning growl, drops its head, and swings those sharp horns directly at me, trying to intimidate me into backing off. And as always, a tiger's naturally low profile is just too easy to underestimate, especially for dinosaurs that have never laid eyes on one. Staring at a triceratops that clearly doesn't take me seriously, I have absolutely no intention of dodging or retreating. I don't even bother with a roar, I simply leap and lunge forward. The triceratops instinctively dips its head, raising its enormous frill high, a move that makes it look more imposing, enough to scare off most predators. But it just hands me the perfect opening. I twist my body at full speed mid-air, something I've drilled just for fun during my downtime, so it's effortless. What started as a straight lunge becomes a sharp diagonal strike, and I land hard on the triceratops's flank. The instant I land, I'm already moving, every limb coordinated in perfect feline form. I push off the ground the very moment I touch it, and what was a face-to-face standoff becomes me slamming into the side of the triceratops's neck. By the time it tries to turn and face me, I'm already on it. That lowered head has left its upper neck fully exposed, and I bite down hard. The triceratops jolts at the pain and tries to pull back, angling its frill to shield that vulnerable neck again. but it's already too late. I have its neck locked in my jaws, my two massive paws working in tandem, left paw driving down hard on the head as it tries to pull back, right paw anchored firmly against its body. Then over 5 tons of bite force explodes into the kill, enough to crunch straight through a steel plate, let alone the most vulnerable part of any animal, the throat. With its throat crushed, the Triceratops loses all strength, its wide-open eyes frozen in disbelief at the very moment of death. The whole fight lasts under a minute. I made it quick and clean. I'm no sadist, I just needed to eat. The moment the Triceratops goes down, every dinosaur nearby bolts as far away as possible, putting as much distance as they can between themselves and this blood-soaked predator in their midst. And I'm happy to be left alone. I get to work without wasting a second, because I'm nearly starving, and there's no time for ceremony. I'm going straight for a leg first. Everyone, let's be clear. Our target this time is not the little tiger from 4 months ago. We're dealing with a genuine titan, a prehistoric monster. I need every single one of you at 200%. Hamada checks his weapon as he speaks, reminding his team just how serious and how dangerous this mission is. Yes, sir, they all served together in the same mercenary unit once, and he has no intention of losing anyone on a single operation. Weapons slung and familiar in hand, the captain climbs into the lead off-roader. One command and the convoy moves out. The mood starts light enough. After all, they dealt with the white tiger just 4 months ago, and it was easy to handle back then. Completely obedient. Here's hoping it goes just as smoothly this time. Yeah, always so well behaved. On my breaks I'd go watch him run around outside just for fun. Relax. It's just a tiger. 4 months. How big could it possibly have gotten? These rough and ready soldiers don't know a thing about gene experiments, but they all know one truth. Every single creature in this place is a monster. Even the one that looks like a perfectly normal tiger. They reach the area marked by the GPS signal. The vehicles ease to a stop. Doors open one by one. They step out, boots hitting the uneven ground. They adjust their gear, cinch up their pack straps, and look up at the unsettled forest ahead. Still calm, still easy. Hamada makes a quick gesture. Ready up. He leads the way, and the rest fall in behind, moving forward on foot. Their footsteps ring out unnaturally loud in the dead quiet forest as if nothing else alive is around. What the hell? The massive corridor ripped through the trees by sheer brute force, hits them all like a punch to the gut. Feels like a heavy tank rolled through here. I guarantee he was in a serious hurry. Hamada ignores the attempted humor. He crouches down and scoops up a handful of earth. Just rubbing it between his fingers tells him everything. The moisture, the density, the freshness. Fresh and packed solid. He has to work his fingers just to break the pebbles apart. That alone tells him how much force passed through here. The tracks are fresh. He's just ahead. Everyone check your gear one more time, move out. They advance in alternating cover formation until they reach the edge where the forest opens into grassland. The moment they break through the tree line, the tension drains from every chest at once. Well, what can you say? Their park's most well-behaved big cat really lives up to the title. There, beside the carcass of the Triceratops, lies a creature nearly a full story tall at the shoulder, peacefully asleep, its white fur rising and falling with each breath like a living, breathing mountain. Back in the control center, everyone breathes a sigh of relief at the peaceful scene. Good, just one Triceratops, still within acceptable limits. But how much does a Triceratops weigh again? Sharp-eyed Owen spots the thing nobody else does. His attention isn't on the sleeping big cat, it's on how unnervingly clean the surrounding area is. Not a single dinosaur in sight. And that Triceratops skeleton, far too clean for comfort. A fully grown Triceratops stands 3 to 4 meters tall, runs 6 to 8 meters long, and weighs in at 8 to 10 tons. So just how much meat can it provide? He catches snippets from the researchers nearby and realizes everyone here is a dinosaur enthusiast, himself included, which means everyone's eager to show off what they know. But right now, Owen's only real question is about the white tiger sleeping out there. Just how much did it eat? The Triceratops DNA we sourced wasn't fully pure. We supplemented it with some bovine DNA, so its meat content comes out to roughly 60 to 70% of its total body weight. So that animal out there could yield close to 5 tons of meat, correct? Theoretically, yes. Owen starts kicking the equipment beside him in frustration. Claire stares at him like he's lost it. Does he have any idea how expensive that equipment is? And why is eating more a problem? The last time she and Owen reviewed the white tiger's physical data, he weighed 2.7 tons and stood 2 meters tall. Now he's pushing 3 meters. With Davis's helpful breakdown, Claire starts to grasp just how serious this is. He consumed twice his own body weight in food? He ate it, digested it, and his body actually grew larger. Is any of that even possible? If Henry were still here, he could probably spin a reason for all of this. To cover up what he built into me, Henry had already cataloged thousands of species, the top performers in every category across the natural world. But Dr. Wu isn't here right now. We can't get the gene map from him, but looking at the situation, he was simply hungry. Once he's full, he should head back on his own. Claire waves it off. It's just one Triceratops. Rare within the enclosure, sure, but hardly irreplaceable. Control team, bring the white tiger back. Now. Copy that. The control team begins advancing slowly, fanning out to form a wide encirclement around me. But Hamada, leading the front, notices something. The purple markings on that white mountain of fur seem to be glowing, and the glow is picking up speed. He pushes the thought aside. Get it contained first, ask questions later. After all, it could just be firefly DNA, right? But the moment he raises the tranquilizer gun to fire, the markings on that white mountain suddenly blaze bright, like a bomb on the verge of going off. Everyone fall back. At Hamada's shout, every person jumps back on pure instinct, and in that same instant, the light radiating from my body surges to its peak, and with a thunderous boom, it releases a massive shockwave. This wave, seemingly harmless, expands outward from me as its center, spreading across the entire island. Wherever it passes, every piece of electrical equipment short-circuits instantly. What's happening? What's going on? The vehicle just died, and my phone's gone black too. In the control center, every screen goes dark in an instant, but thankfully the backup power system kicks in, and some of the feeds gradually flicker back onto the main display. Stay calm, everyone. It's just an electrical issue. We'll have it sorted shortly, and backup power is already running. Watching the staff scramble and Claire's expression grow darker by the second. Owen is about to say something, but Davis grabs his arm and shoots him a look. Owen follows him out without a word. What are you doing? Owen watches Davis move with unusual urgency and can't make sense of it, though years of reading each other tell him this is going somewhere big. Don't you get it? In there we'll only get the answers they want to give us. The only way to find the real answers is to go look ourselves. What exactly are you planning? Something we're actually good at? Owen sees the eyebrow raise and grins. Then, let's get to it. At the very moment that shockwave detonates in a massive yurt-like structure on the island's northeast side, the eyes of a strange dinosaur floating in a central cultivation pod twitch, just barely. Hamada hammers the button on his stun baton, desperately hoping it's just a fluke, but it gives nothing back. That dead silence destroys the last shred of courage he has left, because right now he's soaked through with cold sweat, his clothes clinging to his skin, that clammy cold feeling making him sick, the heat washing over him from just ahead. Hamada's body won't stop shaking. His eyes lock on the enormous head staring down at him. No question, that massive jaw could swallow his entire upper body whole. The head alone is over a meter wide. Wait, the report said just over 2 meters tall? You call ceiling grazing height just over 2 meters? Nearly 3 meters rounded down to a bit over 2. That's one generous rounding. He'd have to jump just to reach its shoulder. While it could end his life with a casual nod of its head, the rest of the team stares up at the massive white creature before them, doing their best to hold it together. But the fear bleeds through anyway. Pupils shrinking, beads of sweat rolling freely, weapon-gripping hands trembling, knuckles gone white from the strain. Standing on open ground in front of a tiger nearly 3 meters tall, not one of them thinks their legs can outrun it. And fighting up close? Even the Maasai needs 7 or 8 warriors to bring down a single lion. And this thing is a tiger, a 3-meter gene fusion monster. There is no fighting this. You remember me, right? Hamada tries his luck, keeping his voice friendly. He did visit from time to time after all, and honestly nobody in this entire park dislikes me. Stunning, a giant white cat. Who wouldn't love that? I stare at the human in front of me. Honestly, I have face blindness. Every foreigner looks basically the same to me, except for a handful of celebrities I actually recognize. Roar! I give him a casual roar just to acknowledge I heard him. Then I turn and amble back toward home. The team watches this truck-sized beast begin to move, but it's heading straight toward the enclosure. The tension leaves their shoulders. Good. Same obedient creature as before. Captain, what do we do now? What do you think? Get back to the vehicles and grab your gear. He flicks the nearest guy in the forehead. Sometimes he genuinely wonders what's going on inside these people's heads. Pure mush. No matter how obedient it looks right now, it still has everything it needs to kill every last one of them without breaking a sweat. Without weapons in hand, how could anyone feel safe? Move it. In the control center, Claire watches the red blip blink steadily back toward the original enclosure, and finally exhales. Alright everyone, situation resolved. Looks like the white tiger is still the same one we know. He's heading home. I'm picking up something unusual over here. Now what? Claire turns with a sigh. She feels like she's been running on empty for days. Nothing but one alarm after another. He's already on his way back. What could possibly be wrong now? Multiple dinosaur biosignals are triggering threat alerts. All of them are in danger. Based on the direction of the alerts, their path is going to intersect with the white tiger's route. What about the camera feeds? Working on it. Oh hell! After hammering the keyboard for a solid minute, nothing comes up. Static and corrupted data flood the screen as Lori slams the keyboard one final time in frustration. That strange pulse from before, it fried every single camera in the area. Get a message to the control team. Full alert. If they encounter anything unusual, contain it immediately. Deep in the thick forest, a massive white tiger strolls along without a care in the world. 2 human off-roaders trailing close behind, looking less like a retrieval team and more like a royal escort. Hearing the message from the control center, the captain glances at me, big enough to rest my head on the roof of the vehicle, and figures the people back there are worrying over nothing. Who in the world is going to mess with a tiger that size? Honestly, he thinks even a Tyrannosaurus Rex would think twice. The muscle on my legs alone is a sight to behold, and I pay absolutely zero attention to the humans behind me. I'm busy checking in with my own body. After that meal, the strange crystal core inside me feels more responsive than before, like it's fed and settling. As for that strange shockwave I apparently let off while sleeping, I do have some vague memory of it, but it feels about as significant to me as sneezing. What effect it actually had, I have no idea. Right now, all I want is to get back to my den and sleep it off. As for the humans, I really couldn't care less. It was just a triceratops. I spotted a whole herd of them out on the grassland. A tiger like me is clearly a hybrid, and at the very least, I should be on par with the Indominus Rex, right? And with all the goodwill I've shown, plus my own value to this place. Surely I outweigh one triceratops? Reassured by my own logic, I feel even more untouchable than before. As long as I don't hurt any humans, I can do whatever I want in this park. Then I stop. I stare at the enormous trees I'd smashed open on my way through. I think my elbow might have grazed them when I was sprinting. I hold my arm up against the gap and I've grown again, haven't I? I look at my white and purple paw, then at the off-roader beside me. My paw is wider than the hood of the vehicle. Whether I'll keep growing is anyone's guess. I'm barely over a year old, and tigers don't reach full maturity until 3 or 4. There it is again. I find a sturdy tree nearby, lean sideways and start rubbing my back, specifically the shoulder blade area, against the bark. That hits the spot. Ever since I finished eating, the itch in my shoulders has been getting worse and worse. And it's not a surface itch, it comes from under the skin, drilling straight into the bone. I have no idea what's causing it. Surely I'm not actually growing wings? Basic aerodynamics still applies, you know. People always say a tiger with wings, like that's the ultimate combo. But the reality is, a tiger's current build is already dominant nature. Add wings to that and the daily food consumption would be absolutely astronomical. Birds sacrifice everything to get airborne. They've stripped their bodies down so aggressively that their digestive tracts can't even hold waste. Whatever goes in comes straight back out. So wings, for a creature like me right now, would be nothing more than decoration, and honestly, I might not even be able to fly. The last thing I want is to be a glorified ground chicken. But the people behind me, watching the giant tiger scratch itself against a tree nearly 3 feet across, the bark cracking and groaning under the pressure, stare at the split in the trunk in disbelief. Is that crack for real? Finally, the tingling in my back fades, and I let the poor tree go. The strange procession, one tiger, many humans, moves on. But something feels off. Very off. Why am I picking up a thermal signal on my right, and why is it closing in on me fast? Within moments, that signal is no more than 500 meters away. I turn my head and lock eyes with the direction it's coming from. Body low, every limb coiled tight. Hamada notices my shift and brings the vehicles to a halt. Every signal I'm giving says, something nearby is capable of threatening me. Captain, prepare for combat. Everyone grab whatever gear still works. He gets his team equipped, reforms them into combat formation, and tucks the group in as close to my flanks and rear as they dare. They listen to my slow, steady breathing ahead, but even at its slowest, it's still the rumble of an ancient giant, deep and rolling like a motorcycle engine at idle. Thoom. The enemy draws closer. Heavy footsteps begin to reach them, and every heart climbs straight to every throat. Crash. A small tree topples, and the enemy steps into view. Whether it's me, poised and ready, or the humans at my side, or even the staff watching through cameras back in the control center, every single jaw drops, and not a single breath is drawn. Because the creature standing before them is deeply, unsettlingly wrong. A dinosaur built like a baryonyx stands in full view, its forelimbs alone long enough to touch the ground, the jagged spines running up its elbows and back, and a tail bristling with barbs like an enormous scorpion. Every detail screams danger. Its skin a mottled gray-black, and a snout shorter and rounder than a typical dinosaur's. Some people find themselves feeling, for reasons they can't quite name, that its head looks uncomfortably like a human's. It spots me in the group, combat ready, and something seems to click. It leans forward like it's found what it was looking for, and lets out a roar. I roar back, offended. I'm lazy, I don't like fighting, but that doesn't mean I'm afraid of it. If anything, watching this thing challenge me, I feel the fire I thought had cooled start burning again. Search the database. I want to know what this dinosaur is and where it came from. Claire snaps out the order. Her staff get moving. Found our culprit, clearly a carnivore, and that hideous appearance says it all. Nothing good comes in that package. But whatever it is, it's clearly not a naturally developed animal, almost certainly another gene splice hybrid. And who's behind it? No question, Henry again. Claire has seen gene fusion hybrids before. Whether it's the Indominus Rex kept locked away, or the ever-gentle white tiger, the two couldn't be more different in temperament, but at least they both look somewhat presentable. And I, with my white and purple coat, am downright adorable if she's being honest. But this thing, it looks like someone crammed a giant scorpion and a mid-sized theropod into one body. That stubby mouth, those strange eyes, the vague suggestion of a human face, it's textbook Uncanny Valley. Just thinking about it makes Claire's skin crawl with goosebumps. Send Squad 2 to support immediately. Are they authorized to use lethal weapons? She hesitates at the question. She genuinely isn't sure. She doesn't know whether this hybrid is considered a valuable asset. Nobody briefed her on this when she took the role. Nobody mentioned the park had this many variants, so she can't make guarantees. Is this thing a protected asset or not? Authorize the weapons, but under no circumstances is anyone to kill it unless absolutely necessary. Claire is torn. The weight of her responsibility as manager and the value of ordinary human lives pull at her from both sides, and neither choice comes easy. In the end, she can only hope it turns out to be as cooperative as I am. While everyone debates the uninvited guest, the fight has already begun. Facing this grotesque creature, I'm at full attention, every sense dialed to maximum. I actually try to communicate first. What if I share some of its DNA? Like the Indominus Rex and the Velociraptors, if there's a way to avoid a fight, let's avoid it. But the moment I make a sound, that thing, which had seemed almost composed, immediately screams and charges. It started this. What am I supposed to do? Go meet it head on. I don't like fighting, but I sure don't back down from it. Two titans crash into each other at full speed. The instant they collide, a violent gust tears through the air, sending dust and debris swirling in every direction, nearly impossible to see through. After the first exchange, I sense immediately that its strength is far below mine, and I disengage to reset. I also notice that although we're about the same height at the shoulder, its long craning neck makes its head loom above mine. Height means nothing. As the Scorpio's Rex charges again, I rear up on my hind legs and unleash a tiger's greatest weapon, the tiger paw combo. Standing upright, my frame stretches over 5 meters. I look like a force of nature. I actually have to aim my paws slightly downward just to reach its head. Over 20 tons of striking force, left, right, and the creature is completely disoriented, staggering with every hit. But as the hits pile up, I notice something wrong. No matter how many times I strike, it goes flying from the force all right, but it doesn't seem to be taking any real damage. How durable is this thing? As the two giants clash, the watching humans scramble to spread out, observing the battle between dragon and tiger, and yet everyone is surprisingly relaxed, because the advantage is clearly mine. From a human's point of view, it looks like that strange dinosaur is practically volunteering its head to be smacked. After dozens of strikes with no sign of it breaking, I get tired of it and switch tactics, slamming both paws hard into those long, thin arms, then opening wide and clamping down on its throat. It has taken more hits than I can count, and maybe it's finally learned something. Because now, when the Scorpio's Rex attacks, it drops its head hard on every charge, even starting to shift into a 4-limbed rush. For me, that's solved by a slight lean, and all it does is offer me its exposed upper neck, right at jaw level. And I can clearly see all those backward-facing barbs covering its body. Nothing good ever comes with spikes like that. So instead of going for a full throat clamp, I take half the grip. Even so, just enough pressure to restrict its breathing, and it's mine. The moment I lock onto its neck, I drive my full weight forward and pin the Scorpio's Rex to the ground. And this is only possible because of what I've grown into. Shoulder height over 2.4 meters, body length over 5 meters, and weight already clearing 6 tons. In both mass and length, I far outmatch this freak standing 3.5 meters tall and 8 meters long. And what makes it even more terrifying, even though I've grown far beyond anything a feline should be, I've kept every bit of feline agility, as demonstrated in full during the Triceratops hunt earlier, in a forest packed with obstacles. The Scorpio's Rex, whatever plans it had to show off its speed, was always going to end up on the receiving end. But just as I have its throat locked in my grip, ready to hold until it stops breathing, I catch the sound of something cutting through the air beside my ear and leap back on instinct. I don't stop to wonder whether it could actually hurt me. I already have the upper hand, and I can win this on raw power alone. Why take unnecessary risks? Play it safe and win clean. And because I moved when I did, I barely, just barely, dodge what would have been a chilling strike from behind. I can almost feel my fur graze against whatever that thing was. I steady myself and fix my gaze on the Scorpio's Rex as it struggles back to its feet. And now I see it, what just tried to hit me. A tail bristling with scorpion-like barbs, tensed and ready to strike again. And just looking at it, you can tell it's loaded with venom. And it is. A single sting is enough to kill a Brachiosaurus. The Scorpio's Rex pulls itself upright and stares at the enemy that just put it on the ground without breaking a sweat. If it hadn't swung that tail at the critical moment, it would have been over. The creature that once believed itself unbeatable now backs away in fear. Watching it retreat, I assume it's scared and getting ready to leave. But until it's completely out of my sight, I keep every muscle coiled. I have no desire to go after it. And fight to the death, what's the point? I'm here to live as a prize-protected animal, not to throw my life away in a pointless brawl. Yeah, that's right, just back off and leave me alone. I roar it out regardless of whether it understands a word. To me, it's the same as trash talking after a street fight before walking away. But just as the Scorpio's Rex looks set to retreat, the fully armed humans nearby seem to get a surge of confidence and quietly begin to close in. I watch the whole thing from right beside them, crystal clear, and one of them has already raised a capture launcher, ready to fire a net. Are these people serious? Just because I can beat it doesn't mean they can. And look at their stun batons, all dead. What do they think this is, a cattle drive? And someone's grabbed a lasso pole. As these humans inch closer, nearly within optimal firing range of their weapons, something sets off the Scorpio's Rex. Maybe my roar got to it, or maybe the humans advancing triggered something, because it roars again and charges. Any thought I had of letting this go dissolves into pure irritation. I gave you a way out, and this is how you repay me? I drive forward on 4 ready limbs and charge straight back. This time, no more holding back. I'm done playing around. The Scorpio's Rex leans forward and drops into a 4-limb charge using those long arms. Doesn't help. To me, it's actually slower than when it was running upright, and nowhere near my speed. The moment we collide, my massive paw drives its head straight into the ground, and the momentum of its own charge tears a trench across the earth. Under the weight of my force, its front limbs collapse flat to the ground, those long, slender arms unable to generate enough resistance. And even its struggling hind legs can't push it back upright. But I don't waste the opening. The instant it tips forward, I slam both paws down hard, flip its entire body onto its side, and drive my jaws straight into that vulnerable throat. Crack. No suspense. The moment a tiger's jaws find a prey's throat, everything is already decided. The humans, who played little more than spectators throughout, watch the whole scene and feel a chill run through them, because they realize, without sufficient heavy weaponry, humans don't even qualify to step onto a battlefield like this. In the control center, Claire watches me roar triumphantly after the one-hit kill, and wrestles with something internally. After turning it over, she pushes the thought aside. Wherever that strange dinosaur came from, that's Henry's problem. It's his monster. Having slain another monster, the mountain-like white cat now rests peacefully on his throne. The surrounding staff scramble into their various tests and measurements, because today, I'm in a rare generous mood, and letting them have at it. This is a golden opportunity they can't afford to waste, because as gentle as I am, once my stubborn side kicks in, no amount of calling gets me to cooperate. I won't bite anyone's head off. but casually sweeping my tail past someone's legs and tripping them up as I walk by, effortless. Sometimes I even play innocent, casually drifting over and giving someone a gentle bump that sends them tumbling, then wearing a face that says I have absolutely no idea what just happened. Truly the smartest and most mischievous animal in this entire park. Alright, the test results are in. Everyone, take a look at these fresh readings. The staff have stopped being surprised by anything. Shoulder height 2,632 millimeters, body length 5,174 millimeters, tail length 2,893 millimeters. And finally, the number everyone is most curious about, because for a wild animal, body weight is the ultimate factor in where it stands on the food chain, whether I'm built for power or agility. At the end of the day, raw mass is what does the talking. But staring at the readout, Claire's expression darkens. She glances over at me mid-yawn and says with just a hint of uncertainty, "Is our scale broken?" "No, we used 3 separate scales, all 3 came back the same." Claire slaps her forehead. She doesn't even know how to write this up. What is she supposed to say? That their tiger went out and ate a triceratops 3 times its own body weight, came back having doubled in weight, with only a modest visible size increase, and call that normal? Then there's the hybrid dinosaur that died en route. Still no trace of its origin. The only thing they can go on is the gene fusion markers on its body, almost certainly Henry's work, possibly predating the Indominus Rex itself. Further analysis reveals that every barbed part of its body is coated in potent venom, especially the tail spines. Initial estimates suggest a single sting is enough to incapacitate a full-grown Brachiosaurus. Fortunately, perhaps thanks to combat instincts encoded somewhere deep in my genes, I never touched a single spine, and took it down at speed without any trouble. Just as Claire forces her frustration back down, she spots Owen and Davis appearing from nowhere, circling around me and observing. "Owen!" Owen turns at the call, helpless resignation on his face. Davis shoots him a good luck look. Walking up to Claire, Owen takes in the full force of her energy and wonders, not for the first time, how he ever thought they were a good match. But that tangled history between Claire and Owen is a story for another time. Meanwhile, as I receive my grooming from the staff beside me, I lie sprawled on the ground with a look of pure contentment, my entire body rolled onto its side. Now I finally understand why cats love being scratched. This is incredible. The fur that had been on edge through the entire fight now unfurls completely, falling soft and smooth once again. Looking at this big, fluffy, adorable, gentle ball of white fur before them, someone dares to reach in and grab a handful, incredibly soft. But Davis, standing at a distance and thinking about whatever he and Owen uncovered, can't bring himself to step forward and touch me, no matter how lamb-like I look right now. I glance at the broad, bald-headed man and feel absolutely nothing in particular. I do remember he's been in a lot of movies, especially the ones where he drives. That scene where he pulls down a helicopter with his bare hands, hard to forget. But if Owen can show up here, then Davis being around is no big deal either. Neither of them is getting in my way. It's not like he drove his way into Jurassic Park after all. I shift to a more comfortable angle and keep lying there, savoring every bit of attention from the people around me. Now this is living. Chicago. Henry sits with a loose, easy posture, body slightly reclined, one foot resting on the opposite knee, swaying gently. A faint smile plays across his face, his eyes carrying the quiet satisfaction of a man at peace. He seems to be savoring the stillness of the moment, his thoughts drifting freely. His left hand rests on his black briefcase. And right now, he feels absolutely wonderful. What could possibly be more satisfying than achieving something extraordinary in the field you love most? Wow, what a welcome sight. Dr. Wu, so glad you could make it. That's Brett Wyden, head of Genetics Energy Company. Good to see you, Henry, says the man, extending a hand. Henry takes it with a warm smile, Brett, and they head straight for the convention hall. We've met before, ladies and gentlemen, but at President Brett's invitation, I'm here today to present a special proposal, the Fury Plan. Henry stands at the podium with effortless composure, pitching to a room full of suited executives. He's done this so many times it's second nature. First, let's take a look at some of my personal work. The main screen comes to life with footage of dinosaurs feeding and hunting. For this crowd, nothing here is truly surprising. As leaders across every major industry, they've already had a taste of everything Jurassic Park has to offer. Impressive, certainly, but impressive is all it is. Compared to a zoo, it's mostly novelty, nothing more. Dr. Wu, we want to see something more extraordinary. Of course, I've saved the best for last. He skips straight to the end without delay, and as the files and footage begin to appear on screen, the room gradually leans in. The Indominus Rex. It carries the genes of 14 different animals, each one pushing it to the extreme in a different area. At full growth, we project a standing height of 6.7 meters, a body length of 16.9 meters, and a weight approaching 20 tons. Because of the Dinosuchus DNA, all of its teeth are exposed and uneven, deeply unsettling to look at, but completely justified by the damage they can do. It has approximately 74 teeth, and thanks to the pit viper DNA, its jaw can open to 120 degrees for a bite. The cuttlefish and tree frog genes allow it to change its own coloration, blending into virtually any environment with ease. The primate DNA gives it arms far more capable than a typical theropod, even allowing four-limbed locomotion when needed. Hand structures resembling a human's give it genuine gripping capability. Most critically, the pit viper genes allow it to track prey through thermal vision, while also enabling it to regulate its own body temperature, masking its heat signature and hiding from any thermal detection equipment. Its only limitation is speed. That massive body means it's not a fast runner by any standard, but it can still reach 50 kilometers per hour. and thanks to its unique body structure combined with Carnotaurus and Velociraptor DNA, its legs can generate exceptional bursting power, capable of sustained long-range charges. But even that is not our ultimate goal. What we're truly after is something more careful, more lethal, and more intelligent. With just a little more genetic engineering, we can create the perfect hidden killer. And most importantly, no pension required. At that, Brett himself jokes about the modern military, drawing a round of laughter from the room. Of course, once we bring everything together, rest assured, ladies and gentlemen, we will deliver far more than you paid for. Bathed in the first light of dawn rising in the east, a giant tiger with snow-white fur roars freely into the morning air. The golden rays drape him in brilliant light, making his already magnificent silhouette blaze even more brilliantly. Head held high, jaws thrown wide open, the roar he releases is deafening, as if the entire world shudders in response. The sound waves ripple through the air, sending nearby birds bursting from the trees in all directions, and even the Carnotaurus, still in its enclosure several kilometers away, roars back in alarm. My deep amber eyes burn with a wild inner flame, and every strand of my fur catches the light and gleams. After the daily morning roar, I lower myself lazily to the ground, and begin to enjoy what the humans have prepared for me today. Soon after my roar, the gates swing open, and a fleet of small vehicles rolls in one by one, from which emerge staff in lab coats and masks, each carrying an assortment of brushes and towels. I take my place before my throne and settle down early, and the staff around me begin their daily duties. The great white tiger slowly raises its hill-like head, relaxes every limb, and seems to say without words, "I'm ready." The trained staff move in quickly, soft bristled brushes in hand, their movements gentle and expert as they begin grooming the great tiger. The brushes pass softly through the white tiger's thick, snow-white coat, every stroke careful, every movement full of reverence. Of course, someone always sneaks in a little handful of fur, and given how well they serve me, I graciously allow it. Other staff members crouch down beside the white tiger, carefully tending to the fur around the neck. Fingers weave nimbly through the fur, combing gently, terrified of causing even the slightest discomfort to this noble beast. I enjoy every second of it, eyes half closed, a deep, satisfied purr rumbling up from my throat, the sound rolling through the air like a seal of approval for the staff. When the grooming is done, I've already caught the scent of food. A massive truck rolls slowly in, like tribute being brought before a king. I rise to my feet, the staff around me step back. They know, the great beast is about to eat. I pad over with smooth, graceful strides and take my place beside the truck. I don't even need the dump bed raised. Standing at full height, my head reaches straight into the nearly 2.5-meter dump bed with ease. That 10-meter-long, 4-meter-wide cargo bed is my dining plate. For better reach, I prop my front body up and rest both paws on either side of the truck, pressing palm prints into the specially reinforced roof with enough force to leave visible dents. Music plays in the background. I have no idea what it's saying, but who cares? This is the good life, isn't it? I peek into the cargo bed. Beef. Let's go. The sounds of ravenous eating fill the air, and the whole truck groans and creaks under my weight, every second threatening to be its last. But I do try to keep most of my weight on my hind legs. This truck works well for me, and if I break it, the next one might not. That would be inconvenient. Meal finished, I don't spare a thought for the scraps around my mouth or the bits on my face. I simply stroll back to my throne at my own pace. The staff who step back quickly move in again, tools in hand, tending to my fur and clearing away the remains from my face. They even bring out a specialized device, extending it into my open mouth to clean between my teeth. And after that, all I need to do is drift into a deep, quiet sleep, while my subjects finish cleaning everything for me. This is the life. If every day could be like this, I'd never ask for anything more. Sometimes I catch myself thinking, maybe in my next life, I'll just come back as a tiger. Living this well, Davis stares down at me sleeping, pure envy written all over his face. But that's as far as it goes. Human pleasures can't be satisfied by just lying around all day. Davis, any word back from Jonas yet? Owen has barely finished his session with the Velociraptors before rushing over to check on his other prized companion. But one look at how relaxed I am, and how smoothly the staff is handling everything, and he can't help but feel completely unnecessary. Still, just to be safe, he asks Davis to keep an eye on me while he's away. The park, never short on funds, has brought Davis on as my temporary security consultant. Still no reply, though I have a feeling he'll just call me directly. I know exactly what kind of relationship those two have. Right in the middle of their small talk, Owen's phone buzzes. Dr. Wu is calling me? Davis thinks to himself, those two really are close. Deep in sleep, I feel something warm pressing against me. I open one eye to find Annie hammering away at my head with both fists. To me, all that effort feels like nothing more than a light pat. I rise slowly, like a mountain coming to life. Annie stares up at the colossal creature whose thigh alone towers over her head. Even knowing me as well as she does, she takes a step back. I give a lazy grunt to let her know I heard her, then lumber toward the gate. Annie watches me obediently walk away and shakes her head with a helpless smile. Across the facility, Henry is staring at his computer screen, deep in thought. When he hears movement outside, he presses a button on his desk, and the door swings open. A creature taller than a full story of a building walks in. Truth be told, ever since returning from Chicago, Henry has had zero interest in the fate of his first test subject, the Scorpios Rex, which I killed. He even cheered when he watched the footage. One-hit kill. In Henry's eyes, the Scorpios Rex was every bit as powerful as the Indominus Rex. Its venom-coated spines enough to ruin any opponent's day on first contact. Yet somehow, facing life and death for the very first time, I pulled off a perfect first encounter kill. Not only did he hold no grudge, he immediately got to work expanding the facilities around me. building an entirely new research base. He even had a custom gate installed, 5 meters tall and 3 meters wide, just to fit me. But now, looking at the creature before him, already over 4 meters tall, Henry quietly wonders, maybe I should make it a little bigger. After all, by tiger growth standards, I'm still under 2 years old. There's plenty more growing to do. Someone from Genetics Energy Company is coming today to review my progress. Watch for my signal when they arrive. Don't act too smart or too powerful. Genetics Energy Company, not only Henry's biggest backer, but the very reason he made that trip to Chicago. The company wants to weaponize dinosaurs for military use, and they commissioned Dr. Wu to engineer creatures to spec. That's the real reason the Indominus Rex and the hybrid velociraptors exist. If Henry had never seen beyond his own lab, he might have been content to deliver just that, trade his creations for a bit of fame and money. But now, he's seen the bigger picture. So have I. The name Genetics Energy Company rings a bell, but judging by the way Henry described them, the heavy guy from the movie must be their man. They've always been obsessed with building weapons of war that could replace human soldiers, and dinosaurs have always been their top pick. Now it looks like I've been added to the list. That's bad news for me. The last thing I want is to be anybody's war machine. All I want is a quiet, peaceful life. So I give a firm nod of my massive head. Dr. Wu repeats himself just to make sure I understood. Then he produces a vial of deep crimson liquid, his proudest creation. Years ago, when he first learned of a rare plant called blood blue, he branched out into serum development as a side pursuit. Years of feeding it to me have made one thing clear: the serum replenishes an animal's energy with ease, and sometimes produces results even he didn't expect. The day of reckoning is almost here, and honestly, I'm looking forward to it too. I can tell Henry has been continuously refining the formula, because even at my current massive size, that vial still smells absolutely incredible, and it still manages to fully restore the enormous amount of energy my body now demands. The moment I get to taste the fruits of Henry's work is just around the corner, while the two of us are each lost in our own thoughts. That evening, the head of security for Genetics Energy Company arrives, the man obsessed with turning dinosaurs into weapons of war, Victor Hoskins, stepping into the research base. Hoskins is a heavy-set middle-aged man with salt and pepper hair and a neatly trimmed beard. He stands behind the safety glass watching the pale white giant prowl its enclosure. Thanks to its gene fusion hybrid advantages, the Indominus Rex has grown to 15 meters in length, making it the undisputed largest carnivore on the entire island, not counting the Mosasaurus, which is no dinosaur. Pair that with its endless array of hybrid abilities, and you have a near-perfect weapon of war. Hoskins can barely contain his satisfaction. Henry keeps his expression neutral. Next, let's check on the other subject. Hoskins nods eagerly. 10 minutes later, they've moved from the high-walled breeding compound to an even larger enclosure. Seeing how much bigger this pen is compared to the Indominus Rex's, Hoskins assumes whatever's inside must be a supreme predator. But then he and Henry look down at the white big cat sprawled across its throne like a lazy old man, motionless, content to be waited on by humans. Both men's expressions twitch. This is not what Hoskins had in mind at all. He can't detect a single spark of energy or fighting spirit. Did the fusion experiment fail? He's like those ligers bred from tigers and lions. The body grows fast, and he may even surpass the Indominus Rex in size someday. But the defects are everywhere. Even the act of walking could kill him. What's with the music? The booming beat fills the air. Those wild, shameless lyrics. Is that booty music? He actually loves this song. We let him pick, and this is what he chose. Kept bobbing his head to it too. Listening to Henry deliver that with a completely straight face, Hoskins shifts his gaze back down. I can't even feed myself without human assistance. The verdict is swift. He doesn't pass. Doctor, I want you to create more creatures like the Indominus Rex. Dr. Wu replies calmly, I'll keep working on it, of course, but producing something at the Indominus Rex's level doesn't come cheap. Having successfully secured a fresh round of funding, Henry comes down to the enclosure floor, and I stand beside him, watching Hoskins walk away. I turn my head and let out a sound in Dr. Wu's direction. Translation: get back to work on that red serum, Wu. I'm starving. Well, more accurately, I'm waiting for dinner. Or rather, the quality inspection of said serum. Henry clearly gets the message. He heads back to the lab and throws himself into work without another word. The next morning arrives. Jurassic World. A brand new day. Another train packed with visitors rolls through the park gates. Zach and Gray, two young brothers among the crowd. Their aunt is none other than Claire, the park's operations manager. And that's exactly why their mother sent them here to spend time at Jurassic World. As one brother drags his feet with boredom and the other practically vibrates with excitement, the events of Jurassic World begin to unfold. Their mother had hoped Claire would personally take the boys around, but Claire is swamped. She sends her assistant Zara to keep an eye on her two nephews instead. Claire herself is busy pitching to investors. Ever since dinosaur DNA was extracted from ancient mosquitoes preserved in amber and cloning became reality, an entire generation has grown up in a world where dinosaurs are real. As dinosaurs become more commonplace, the investors are starting to question whether Jurassic World still has what it takes. Claire counters with the Indominus Rex, and it works. In the eyes of the park's management team, keeping visitors coming back means building bigger, scarier dinosaurs, creatures that can deliver ever more thrills. Once the investors leave satisfied, Claire stops by the control room to get an update on recent enclosure breaches. A herbivore breaking out is of course a minor incident here, handled and closed within the hour. Is White Tiger available today? Yes. He's in a good mood today. Perfect. Let him go. Ever since I arrived on this island, park security has improved dramatically. There isn't a single dinosaur on the premises that hasn't been on the receiving end of my paw. Then Claire heads with park owner Simon Masrani to the Indominus Rex's breeding facility. Standing at the same glass wall that rattled Hoskins the day before, Simon runs his fingers along the cracks. Is it always like this? Always. Incredibly violent. I had hoped it might be as cooperative as White Tiger. Lightning doesn't strike. Twice. Not everyone can be him. I'll have to ask more of you then. I'm one dinosaur security guard short. Simon chuckles. White Tiger really is remarkably gentle. Docile enough to let humans climb on your back. I should know, I've done it myself. He always shakes us off the moment he notices, but still, I did ride a multi-meter giant tiger, didn't I? Shame nobody got a photo. As he speaks, the Indominus Rex emerges from the tree line, its monstrous head lunging out to snap its prey clean in two. Because of me, Owen and Henry have crossed paths many times and exchanged their views on animals. On Owen's suggestion, Henry made sure the Indominus Rex was fed live prey, rather than using the mechanical feeding system to drop in chunks of meat. Simon nods with quiet satisfaction. Bigger, more ferocious. Exactly what he asked for. Not as gentle as me, but more than sufficient as a showpiece attraction. At this point, the Indominus Rex is almost beside the point. Simon is already planning to evolve Jurassic World into a full Ancient Creatures park, and when that day comes, he can look Hammond in the eye and say without hesitation that he's built something greater. His gaze drifts back to the cracks in the glass. His brow furrows. This facility is a safety risk. Being the responsible owner he is, Simon immediately asks Claire to track down dinosaur expert Owen and get his input on the enclosure security. Few people know that Claire and Owen used to date, and Claire isn't exactly thrilled about this errand, but she goes anyway, professional as ever. Owen, meanwhile, is sprawled out on my belly without a care in the world. The soft, warm fur makes him feel like he's lying on a cloud. The moment Hoskins was dealt with, I got bored and hopped out of that enclosure, which, let's be honest, couldn't hold me anyway. On my walk, Owen flagged me down to break up a Pachyrhinosaurus brawl. I had nothing better to do, so I obliged. Ever since I first wandered out of my enclosure and casually settled a dinosaur dispute, Claire's team has been full of ideas. Why not let the Apex Beast handle Apex Beast problems? And so the role of Tiger Security was born. The awkward part, of course, is that it all depends on my mood. If I feel like it, I'll handle it. If I don't, I won't even respond to Owen calling my name. Owen checks his phone, gives my flank a pat and says, "I've got somewhere to be. Go enjoy yourself. Just don't terrify anyone, alright?" Yeah, go. I roll onto my back, belly to the sky, soaking up the sun. There is truly nothing better than lying in the grass like this. Owen stares at me, already drifting back to sleep, shakes his head and rides off on his motorbike. Once Owen is gone, I've slept enough. I yawn at the same old dinosaurs milling about, flick my tail and head into the forest. Left behind, a field of panicking dinosaurs, who settle back down the moment I'm out of sight. Seeing the same faces every day has taken all the novelty out of it. Compared to the dinosaurs who scatter and screech the moment they see me, I've grown far more interested in the areas where humans gather, the guest zones. There's far more interesting material there to keep a tiger-brained me entertained. My nose alone is enough to map most of Jurassic World. Filtering through the sea of human scents, I lock onto a cluster of juvenile and subadult herbivores. Optical camouflage engaged, I move through the entire area without drawing a single glance, human or camera. With pit viper DNA woven into my genome, I'm completely invisible to any thermal detection system. As for GPS tracking, I've long since mastered electromagnetic pulse control. A slight adjustment to the charge along my fur generates a localized magnetic field that scrambles any signal with ease. The field only affects electronics within 10 meters of my body, no wider than that. And what makes me proudest of all is that I figured all of this out entirely on my own, sending the control room staff into a spiral convinced their equipment was malfunctioning. Henry, on the other hand, watched it all unfold with quiet contemplation, and ultimately proposed removing my tracking implant altogether. After all, I'm the most trustworthy creature in the entire park. Habit is a powerful thing. Take right now, I know every path in the guest zones by heart. I slip between enclosures without a second thought, finding an open patch of fence and vaulting over. I've even used this trick to sneak into the T-Rex paddock and watch her eat. This T-Rex is a true veteran of Jurassic World, old by any measure. Her body is covered in scars, yet every one of them seems to make her look stronger, not weaker. In the entire Jurassic World story, if Henry is the human lead, then the other undisputed star is standing right in front of me, old Grandma Rex. If I recall, she was born in 1988, which puts her at only 26 now. Is that old for a dinosaur? All I know is when she eventually goes one-on-one with the Indominus Rex, she dominates the early rounds. That massive skull is a serious weapon, but her hardware can't keep up. The Indominus Rex plays dirty. Those freakishly long forearms. Couldn't arm wrestle a Therizinosaurus. And compared to that, the later fight against the Giganotosaurus. Now that's when things get really dire. The old queen nearly dies. Maybe it's the same instinct that makes people follow celebrities. I keep coming back here just to watch her. But strangely, the more I visit, the more my mind starts generating a very long list of ways I could take her down. I shake those strange thoughts loose and remind myself of my own advantages. Four-legged stride, exceptional core strength. I can take down any theropod with ease. Cats are masters of the throw, and for a top-heavy opponent like a theropod, they're practically built to be thrown. Once they hit the ground, the tiger wins. No question. But after all these visits, despite every precaution I take, she spotted me once. Lucky for me, it was nearly midnight, with no guests around. So I dropped the camouflage, and we threw down. The result? I won, obviously. I didn't even need to try, just stood up and unloaded the tiger paw combo, and she couldn't land a single hit. Honestly, with those stubby forearms, she's less threatening than the Scorpio's Rex. Every time she charged, All I saw was a massive skull flying at me like a gift. After enough lessons, Rex finally figured out that I'm not even 2 years old. Yet this strange little creature matches her in size and crushes her in raw strength. Still, she can tell I'm not actually a threat to her, more like a cub poking at her for fun. So now, every time I come to bother her, she simply ignores me. At the Gentle Giant's petting zoo, I stay well clear of the crowds and scale a nearby tree in a few easy bounds, surveying everything from above. It doesn't take long to spot Zack and Gray, the two brothers key figures in the story about to unfold. Gray is standing on his tiptoes, face glowing with excitement, watching Triceratops and Ornithomys stroll leisurely across the enclosure. Children's laughter fills the air, accompanied by their parents. Kids all around are getting up close with the dinosaurs. Zack is staring at his phone, utterly bored. Soon enough, the energized Gray drags an unwilling Zack over to the T-Rex paddock. Both boys stare down, mesmerized at Rex feeding below. Against a T-Rex stretching 13.8 meters, the little goat doesn't stand a chance. If it weren't tied down, its speed might just be enough to outrun a T-Rex, but its legs are bound. As Rex crashes out of the tree line and swallows the goat in one clean snap, the crowd behind the glass erupts in gasps and shouts. The brothers' attention snaps to the spectacle. The gory display doesn't scare these two teenagers one bit. It sends adrenaline shooting through their veins. But then Gray, still buzzing with excitement, spots something strange through the glass. A weird distortion behind Rex, like a patch of moving transparent air. And for just a moment, he catches a flicker of something, white and violet. But when he blinks and looks again, it's gone. Nothing there? Did you see that? See what? Zack sets his phone down with a sigh and listens to his brother. There was something huge behind Rex, and I think it can change color. That's impossible. You're seeing things. Even a chameleon doesn't get that big. And besides, this is the T-Rex paddock. You think Rex would let anything else alive in there with her? Faced with his brother's logic, Gray reluctantly buries the thought. But he still can't shake the feeling that what he saw was real, and possibly an apex predator. Watching a glass sphere rolling across the grass below, I feel an inexplicable urge. My paws start itching. Do all cats just have a thing for balls? Optical camouflage and thermal suppression active, I stroll through the dinosaur herds without a care. Standing taller than a full story, I could snap the neck of any dinosaur around me without breaking a sweat. Even the Brachiosaurus, famous for its sheer size, is just a jumping target to me. Right now, if I rear up fully, I can pin a Triceratops to the ground, and with a slight upward stretch I can reach an Apatosaurus's neck. With the body I have right now, I'll say it plainly, even if I went face to face with the Indominus Rex this very moment, I wouldn't flinch. That said, if I can avoid a fight, I will. I'm a pacifist at heart, and pure laziness keeps me from wanting to move unless it's for fun. Then suddenly, a roar tears out of nowhere, and the whole field erupts into chaos. Every dinosaur within earshot hears that death knell roar and bolts. The two brothers stuck in the middle of the stampede are momentarily dazed. They've never heard a tiger's roar before. They have no idea what's coming. But judging by the sheer scale of the panic around them, it has to be something enormous. Wait, that can't be right. The briefing said this zone is herbivores only. Where is a carnivore coming from? But the answer arrives before they can finish the thought. That impossibly massive creature. Sealed inside his gyrosphere, Gray wonders if he could even touch the creature's thigh with a running jump. Zack, the older one, is already frantically working the controls. Whatever that thing is and wherever it came from, those canines over 30 centimeters long make it crystal clear. This thing eats meat. The video said, the glass can stop a bullet, but Zack has zero interest in putting that claim to the test with his own life. But in the stampede, every time they try to steer away, another dinosaur slams into them. Whether it's a Triceratops, using its head like a battering ram, or a Brachiosaurus like a moving wall, or even a Stegosaurus swinging its tail spikes, the sphere gets knocked and spun in every direction. Watching this unfold, I plant my rear end down, sit up straight, and take in the whole spectacle like a proud cat who just knocked something off a shelf. I love a good show. Now, while all of this was playing out with the two kids, Owen, having received Claire's invitation, is already standing with her at the Indominus Rex enclosure. He stares at the massive crack splitting the glass wall, and a cold unease settles in. Another gene fusion hybrid, and this one is dinosaur mixed with something else entirely. Even with my example to go by, my intelligence and calm temperament proving I could be trusted, Owen keeps his guard up completely when it comes to this new hybrid, especially now that his friend Davis has already left for Chicago to dig into what's actually going on over there. When the two of them realize I was still exactly who I'd always been, no dramatic personality shifts, nothing alarming, they gradually let their worries go. The task of tracking down my full gene map became less and less of a priority. I'm essentially free range at this point. As long as I don't wander into crowded guest areas without reason, I have the run of the entire park. But as Owen studies the scratches on the glass, something in his periphery catches his eye. Massive claw marks raking up the gate, climbing higher and higher along the surface. The sight sends a chill straight through him. I've never attacked anything unprovoked. The only time I broke out of my enclosure was when I was hungry, and I brought down a Triceratops. On the way back, I killed again only because another strange creature attacked me first. He watched the footage afterward. At the start, I had no intention of killing it at all. I was purely on the defensive, using my paw strikes to deflect. Only when the creature kept pressing the attack again and again did I finally lose patience and end it in one move. Watching that, his heart skips. A true feline, an absolute king, nature's finest hunter. Most people picture tigers as ambush predators, patient, hidden, striking from the shadows. Owen once watched a clip, a fully grown Bengal tiger casually catching a 500-kilogram water buffalo charging straight at it, and flipping it to the ground. The dominance of big cats in the natural world is on a different level entirely. And it's precisely because of that earlier incident with the strange dinosaur that Owen treats this new gene fusion hybrid with absolute wariness. After warning the others, Owen refuses to step inside the enclosure. He stays in the monitoring room the entire time. What he never anticipated was just how smart this creature truly is. It left those deliberate claw marks to lure workers inside for an inspection. And the thermal detection system, for all its supposed sophistication, picked up absolutely nothing. The two who ignored his warning found exactly what he feared: a hidden Indominus Rex waiting inside the enclosure. From his elevated vantage point, Owen watches in horror as the creature deliberately slows its pace, then seizes one of the workers and tears them apart. Faced with death, the heavyset worker actually opens the gate. The Indominus Rex surges through that single opening into freedom, and unlike me, it has no gentle bone in its body. The moment it's out, the slaughter begins. Every last person outside is killed. Only Owen, who never left the monitoring room, survives. Claire, driving toward the enclosure, has no idea what just happened inside. She's been busy complaining about the cheap quality of the glass. The manufacturer swore up and down it was the toughest bulletproof glass money could buy. And look at it, a few claw swipes and it's already cracked. Honestly, I need to start looking at suppliers from the East. Having seen the Indominus Rex's savagery up close, Claire finds herself appreciating my gentleness more and more. Even if one swipe of my paw could flatten a pickup truck, I listen. I don't cause trouble, and I'm smart. Not like the creature in there, stirring up problems all day long, with those hateful eyes that scream carnage the moment it gets free. Then the control room starts sending panicked shouts through her earpiece, and a bad feeling washes over her. Help! Help! Let us out! Help! Two young voices cry out across the entire field. Moving closer for a look, it becomes clear this is a tiger's doing. I've already gotten to work. Jaws wide open, I clamp down on the gyrosphere. At over 4 meters tall and more than 8 meters long, with a skull wider than a grown adult is tall, picking up that little glass sphere is trivial. A little more pressure and I could crack it wide open, but I hold back. Watching the movie, I always wondered, could that thing actually hold? It couldn't stop even one claw of the Indominus Rex, though it did manage to knock a tooth loose. But if the Indominus Rex can bite through it, then so can I. Which comes as no surprise. It's just a matter of how much force I decide to use. The sphere keeps rolling, trying to escape. I swat it with my tail and send it spinning. Then, timing it perfectly, I slap it skyward with one paw. Up it goes, spiraling into the air. As it comes back down, I arch my shoulders forward, sink my spine low, and lift my haunches high like a crescent moon. The falling sphere finds its new runway along my back, and as it rolls down toward my tail, I give it one last flick. Round and round we go. I'm having the time of my life. Zach and Gray, sealed inside, are having a very different experience. Their seatbelts are locked tight, so they're not in any real danger. It just feels like being trapped inside the world's most violent spinning carnival ride. In the middle of this thoroughly one-sided game of catch, I hear a strange sound, and my entire body goes rigid. I still have enough presence of mind to handle the airborne sphere. Catch it cleanly, set it down gently, then whip my tail around and vanish into the forest. Gone in an instant. The two brothers gulp for air, watching to make sure the tiger is truly gone. Zach ignores his churning stomach and immediately cranks the controls, pushing the sphere to full speed. He doesn't care where the tiger went, he just wants out of here. In a panic, he steers straight through a gap in one of the forest enclosure fences. Only when he feels they're far enough away does he finally stop. The two finally let themselves breathe. Look, ankylosauruses, 4 of them. Zach, feeling marginally safer, rubs his still unsettled stomach. To ease his brother's nerves, he gives his shoulder a pat and points to the 4 massive shapes ahead. We spotted them from the gondola earlier, just a lot closer this time. Wait, I thought there were supposed to be 5. No way, there are only 4. Watch, 1, 2, 3, 4. Listening to his brother count, Gray slowly raises a finger and points at the glass in front of them. Reflected in it, the head of a 5th enormous dinosaur. I'm tearing through the forest at a dead sprint when a strange sound reaches me. It's not a dinosaur's cry. It's not any animal I've heard before. Honestly, it doesn't even sound like something alive. If I had to describe it, imagine a clothes rack spinning while dragging across glass. And yet, strangely, the moment I hear it, my blood starts to burn. Like a call from somewhere, deep inside my bloodline. I can almost make out what it's saying. I have awakened. Come now. What? What does I have awakened even mean? And come now. What, you want me to bring offerings? Pushing to full sprint, I arrive at the eastern tip of Nublar Island, standing on a cliff edge staring down at the surging sea far below. There's absolutely no way I'm jumping in there. I let out a tentative roar, not sure if whatever's out there can even hear me, because I don't think I heard it with my ears at all. It felt like I sensed it through my fur. It occurs to me, in human terms, sound is measured by frequency. Human ears only catch a narrow slice. Above that range, ultrasonic. Below it, infrasonic. How much of that spectrum a tiger can perceive, I honestly don't know. But looking around at the dinosaurs nearby and everything else in sight, none of them seem to have heard a thing, which means whatever frequency this signal is on, only I can receive it. This has never happened before. Did Henry secretly give me a sibling? How else do I explain why that sound feels so instantly familiar? I shake the image of another giant tiger out of my head. I think I'm getting the wrong idea. Biologically, I'm barely 2 years old. I stand at the cliff edge and wait. Nothing comes back. It's as if the whole thing was just my imagination. The excitement fades back into stillness. With no answer coming, I lower my great head and turn back, carrying a faint weight I can't quite name. Maybe I don't even realize it myself, but from the very moment I came into existence, I've carried a loneliness that comes and goes like a quiet shadow. I genuinely don't know what I am. A tiger? What tiger gets this big? A gene fusion hybrid? I've already killed one, and it looks like there's another I'll probably have to deal with. The gap between us is too wide. There's no real communication to be had. Maybe that's why, the first time I met the Scorpios Rex, I didn't immediately go in for the kill. We were the same kind in a sense. Who could have guessed it was simply unhinged? If it weren't for the optimism and clarity my human soul brings to this body, I might have fallen into a very dark place by now. Then a fierce, energized roar erupts from the forest. My ears snap to attention. It seems to come from the direction I just ran from, and this sound is nothing like the one before. This is a raw dinosaur bellow, the unmistakable snarl of a carnivore. I think of the two boys I was just playing with, running through the timeline. That thing is broken out. With that, I gradually pick up my pace. We're both gene fusion hybrids. Why not introduce myself? I conveniently overlooked the part where, fully aware of its place in the food chain, it kept slaughtering everything anyway. In my view, that kind of behavior just means it needs a beating. Once something is beaten into submission, everything tends to sort itself out. The only force that can restrain violence is greater violence. That creature's bizarre appearance and brutal hunting style are nothing like me. Earlier, during their escape, the gyrosphere took a direct hit from an ankylosaurus tail club and was wedged deep into a tree trunk, completely stuck. By the time they crawl free, that terrifying creature is staring straight at them. They watch as those blade-like claws slowly puncture the glass, and all Zach can think is, that tour guide was a complete liar. Bulletproof? It can't even stop one dinosaur claw, and when the Indominus Rex figures out that poking it with its hands isn't working fast enough, it goes straight to biting. That skull, nearly 2 meters long, opens past 120 degrees in a death grip kiss, clamping down on the sphere with everything it has. With each surge of force, the sphere begins to give, cracks spider webbing across the surface. Zack and Gray unbuckle instantly. Staying put means dying. They barely manage to scramble free. The moment they start running, the Indominus Rex spots them fleeing and spits out the wrecked sphere. Looking at these two small humans, so much like the keepers who once imprisoned it, the Indominus Rex's long jaw curls into something resembling a smile. Then a massive boom. A huge white figure bursts from the undergrowth, planting itself between the creature and the two boys. Everyone freezes, the brothers and the Indominus Rex alike. Nobody moves. Zack can't believe it. I actually came to save them. The Indominus Rex is simply confused. It has never seen anything this furry. The reason for all this slaughter is simple. It needs to know where it stands in the food chain. So it's been killing everything it sees, testing itself against each creature to measure its own strength. After all this carnage, it has worked out a rough system for sizing up opponents. How big is the body? How many teeth in that mouth? How long are those claws? Now, the white creature in front of it, 4 of those fangs are visible and they look longer than even its own, almost matching its claws. And despite crouching on all fours, this is not like those brainless dinosaurs it has been tearing through. This thing is absolutely not smaller than it. The total body length falls just slightly short, but only because its own tail runs unusually long. And in the same breath it catches a scent, a killing aura radiating off this creature. The Indominus Rex can feel the fighting intent radiating off me, but after the rampage it has just unleashed. It believes its position in the food chain must be near the very top, and the thing standing before it now is the opponent that will decide whether it truly is number 1. Without a moment's hesitation, the second I appear, the Indominus Rex snarls, spreads its claws, and charges. Watching it charge without so much as a greeting, I feel genuinely irritated. Why does it take time to chat with the velociraptors but come straight at me swinging? Isn't it basic animal behavior? When two apex predators of equal rank share the same territory, they posture and display, show off their strength, and try to get the other to back down? That actually makes a lot of sense to me. A fight between equals almost never ends without serious injury on both sides. And if I get hurt, how am I supposed to hunt? How am I supposed to eat? Looking at myself, I'm clearly a top-tier predator from any angle. Do I just look too approachable or something? That thought snaps me out of any interest I had in negotiating. If it wants a fight, then a fight it gets. Let it learn who's in charge. I'll say it again, I don't enjoy fighting, but that doesn't mean I can't, or won't. Roar! I unleash a roar that swallows the Indominus Rex's completely, and I charge, watching it barrel toward me with its jaws wide and head lowered. I drop into a crouch, every hair on my body standing on end. I was a monster fan in my past life, so the specs on this hybrid creature in front of me are committed to memory. 5.5 meters tall, 15.9 meters long, 15 tons. And this thing isn't even fully grown? At its peak, the Indominus Rex can reach 6.7 meters tall and 16.9 meters long. Though the data seems to have been revised lately, the measurements took a significant hit downward. The maximum weight still holds, but the body length got cut all the way down to 13.45 meters. As for me right now, 4.2 meters tall, 8.1 meters long, plus a 4.6 meter tail. Compared to that, I hold my own completely, and may even have the edge. My exact weight? No idea. But without question, right now, between myself and the Indominus Rex, we are without a doubt the same tier of apex predator. Though I suspect I have the upper hand, ever since that crystal core appeared inside me, I felt like my strength has no bottom. I still eat myself to absolute capacity every day, because doing so sends a warm current flowing straight into the crystal core. Whatever it is, after the incident where I broke out and hunted a triceratops, Jurassic World got the message. As long as I open my mouth, there's meat, all I can eat, which is why I consume at least 5 tons of food every single day. With that kind of supply, I can fill myself up and still have surplus energy flowing into the crystal core. I still have no idea what the crystal core actually does. Is it like a hump? I tried going a full month without eating once. Nothing happened. Felt completely fine. Building on that, it seems to make sense. The core must be storing my excess energy. The only strange part is why it's inside me rather than outside. That little discovery gave Owen and the staff quite a scare. Dealing with the Indominus Rex's relentless headfirst assault, left paw, right paw, I toy with it effortlessly. Honestly, watching the movie I thought it would be formidable. So agile that helicopters couldn't land a shot, and even the first rounds that hit barely left a scratch. But watching it fight now, its attack pattern is identical to a standard T-Rex. Every lunge for a bite, I slap aside with ease. Smack. Getting a little impatient, I start putting more force into it, sending its entire body spinning in place. It tries to use the rotation to its advantage, swinging that enormous tail around for a counterattack. Doesn't work. I land the hit, spot it winding up for a big swing, and sidestep casually. This fight feels more like play to me. I once heard somewhere that a tiger can take on prey 4 times its own size. Looking at this matchup, to the two brothers watching from below, it probably looks intense. A frantic back and forth. The Indominus Rex lunging for bites, each one swatted away, followed by me dodging the tail. The Indominus Rex finally realizes its approach isn't working and slowly backs off. It hasn't given up without trying. It attempted to block my swipes with its forelimbs, but those freakishly long forearms, impressive compared to a regular T-Rex, look almost laughable against my 4 powerful legs. And that elongated skull, longer than my whole head, is exactly what those slender little claws can't protect. The only move it can think of now is to use that long tail. Wait for me to believe I've launched it off balance, then whip around and knock me off my feet. But every single time it sets up that move, I see it coming, and land 2 more smacks right on its forehead. Reeling in pain, the Indominus Rex stumbles backward. Another massive tree crashes down. From the very start of this clash, tremendous force has been unleashed in every direction. Wherever the two of us move, ancient trees are torn up by their roots, thick trunks snapping like dry twigs, the crack of each break sharp enough to stop the heart. Another wild tail swing misses. The Indominus Rex's tail slams into a nearby oak instead. The canopy erupts, leaves and branches torn free, the lush crown shredded into a storm of debris. Overextended, it slams both feet into the ground, fighting to regain its footing. The earth shudders from the impact, dirt flying, boulders cracking apart. But before it can steady itself, I'm already on top of it, slamming its body to the ground. As we roll and grapple, every flower and shrub in our path gets crushed flat. What was once a picture-perfect forest is reduced to wreckage in moments. After a few brief exchanges, both of us have a read on the other, and the Indominus Rex, always used to being the strongest, is clearly losing ground. And I'm not even close to fighting at full strength. The Indominus Rex huffs and towers above me from its near 6-meter height, glaring down at me as I stand there completely at ease. Its dorsal spines bristle upright, its rear haunches coil tight, its massive jaws crack open, jagged teeth on full display. To me, all of that just looks like desperate bluster, loud posturing with nothing real behind it. I drive through my powerful hind legs using the full strength of my core and rise up on 2 feet. In an instant, my height doubles. Whatever height advantage the Indominus Rex still had evaporates in a second. The bluster collapses. The Indominus Rex edges slowly backward. Looking up at me, staring casually down at it, it is forced to admit something it has never felt before: fear. Because in that moment of comparison, it has seen my fangs, longer than its own by a wide margin, more than capable of tearing its throat out. Roar, you'll regret this. It drops the threat and disappears into the jungle without looking back. I drop back down to all fours. I don't give chase, and I don't try to talk. 1 second I'm beating it like it owes me something, and now I'm supposed to say let's be friends? Only a fool would miss how wrong that would look, and that bloodthirsty nature of it just killed what's left of any goodwill I had. Whatever interest I had in making friends came and went in the same breath. Now I've got nothing but contempt for it. Watching the Indominus Rex, thoroughly dominated from start to finish, too scared to do anything but bark a threat and run, Gray's gaze locks onto the magnificent tiger standing before him. His eyes are filled with pure awe. Looking up from below, watching that white fur ripple in the wind alongside those mysterious violet markings, it looks like a sacred beast walked straight out of legend. Zack, being older, sees it differently. To him, it's 2 apex predators that just settled a dominance fight, and their own situation hasn't really improved. Fortunately, the massive white tiger barely glances at the 2 of them before turning and trotting off toward the open field, leaving both brothers standing there, completely dumbstruck. I couldn't care less about those 2. Earlier I was just chasing them around, because their vehicle was a ball, and my instincts kicked in. Now, my mind's on something else entirely. I pick up a heavy scent of blood, fall out from the Indominus Rex's massacre, and my stomach's rumbling. Might as well grab a bite. With the threat gone, the 2 brothers make it safely back to the enclosure area where they're reunited with Claire and Owen, who had come searching for them. There was a huge white tiger on the way. He used us like a cat toy, but didn't hurt us. He was incredible. He beat this really strange-looking dinosaur. Right, and the dinosaur had these insanely long arms and way more teeth than a T-Rex. Claire and Owen exchange a look as the 2 kids talk over each other. They understand what happened. I was wandering outside, ran into the kids, and my playful instincts kicked in. And in the process, I happened to shield them from the Indominus Rex. The 2 adults can picture it clearly. I'm roaming through the forest, spot an enormous glass ball, and as any feline would, I'm immediately fascinated. After all, during Owen's time as my keeper, he watched me mess around with my ball every single day, until I got too big and the ball got too small, and I eventually stopped. Now the interest is back. perfectly understandable. So I follow this new ball, until the Indominus Rex shows up and targets the two boys inside, and I step in to drive it off. After the fight, I didn't give chase, and I didn't stay to babysit the kids. I just left. Perfectly normal, completely in line with my gentle, lazy nature. A shame I didn't finish off the Indominus Rex then and there, though. Still, this is good news. The Indominus Rex is not invincible. Go find Lori, get him over here. I'll take the kids somewhere safe. Got it. Plan set, they split up. The Indominus Rex situation is escalating fast. They need to move. Meanwhile, while the humans scramble on their end, I'm happily working my way through a feast of fallen dinosaurs. Not my mess, not my problem. Might as well eat. But surveying the carnage spread across the field, I can't help but grumble. That Indominus Rex went way too far. Killed everything in sight, dozens from every single species. This thing has gone beyond challenging the food chain. It's just killing for the sake of killing. But hey, not my concern. Back to eating. I toss aside the picked clean remains of an Apatosaurus and move on to the next. Behind me, a trail of 7 or 8 carcasses. Something feels off today. I've eaten this much and still don't feel full. Why? No, hungry isn't quite the right word. It's more like the feeling of not being satisfied. I tune inward and feel it, that warm current flowing through me, all of it pouring into the crystal core in my chest. How much energy does this thing need to absorb? Not bothering to strip the bones clean, I launch myself at the next target. There's plenty to go around, no need to be thorough. Then, right in the middle of my meal, I hear rotor blades. I look up. A helicopter passes overhead, heading in the direction of where I just fought the Indominus Rex. Wait, I just remembered. In the movie, it was Simon who got bold and reckless. He took a helicopter to personally hunt down the Indominus Rex, crashed into the Pteranodon aviary, released a swarm of pteranodons, and got himself killed in the process. His death indirectly led to the closure of Jurassic World, or its takeover. Either way, it means the end of my peaceful life. Absolutely not acceptable. I throw my head back and let out a long, full-throated roar. Up in the helicopter, Simon spots the white figure on the ground below. Watching me roar up at him, Simon instinctively assumes I'm saying hello, gives me a cheerful wave in return, and flies straight on toward the forest. He's going to put down the creature that's caused him all this trouble. He eyes the Gatling gun mounted on the fuselage with complete confidence. No carbon-based life form can stand against the firepower of modern weapons. With my exceptional eyesight, I catch every detail. Simon's waving hand 100 meters above, the grin on his face. It's practically screaming, "Can't lose! Why won't anyone listen? You're a billionaire. Why are you personally charging into battle?" I drop what's left of my meal and sprint into the forest. I need to reach the Indominus Rex first, take it down if possible, and under no circumstances let it ruin the life I've built here. But the helicopter is far faster than anything on the ground. Within minutes, Simon is hovering above the Indominus Rex, the Gatling gun already spinning up and screaming. Watching the aim of his gunner though, Simon wants to curse and take the controls himself. A few hits at the start, then nothing but misses. Left with no choice, he pushes the helicopter closer, trying to give the shooter a cleaner angle, and as this whole chase unfolds, a white shape explodes from the trees, aimed straight at the fleeing Indominus Rex. It's me. This time, I'm done playing around. The moment I heard the Gatling gun open fire, I knew they'd made contact, so I got ahead of it, positioned myself right in its escape path, and waited. This time, the tiger's way. The ground begins to tremble. The Indominus Rex takes shape in the trees ahead. When the gap closes to under 100 meters, I launch, like a cannonball fired from a barrel, every ounce of my explosive speed on full display. I had already activated optical camouflage and thermal suppression, positioned myself downwind, all for this one perfect moment. The Indominus Rex, its full attention locked on the helicopter above, never saw it coming. Even when it caught the sound of those footsteps, too heavy, too fast, it was already too late. The Indominus Rex, unable to stop, ran straight into my strike zone. Already at full speed, I lock onto my target, jaws close around that thick neck, and using all the force of my sprint, I throw it to the ground. Even accounting for those overlong arms, I shift position the instant it goes down. My entire body coiled and locked across its back, jaws clamped tight to its vulnerable throat, like an intimate embrace. The instant Simon spots the massive white form below, he orders his crew to hold fire. That's his treasure down there. The Indominus Rex is a write-off. But the next great attraction for Jurassic World? Ancient creatures versus dinosaurs. Now that's a show. As the saying goes, you don't know what you've got until you see the comparison. Two of his most prized hybrid creations side by side, and set against my gentleness, the Indominus Rex looks like a complete disaster, which only makes me look all the more perfect, gentle, obedient, intelligent. With one minor flaw, I eat a lot. But against those three qualities, the food bill is barely worth mentioning. Feeling the grip on its neck tighten, air already becoming a luxury, the Indominus Rex thrashes desperately, both claws raking at my shoulders, legs kicking with everything it has, trying to kick death itself away. But from the moment I struck, every form of resistance was already accounted for. In this position, every move the Indominus Rex makes does nothing but drain its own dwindling strength, unless it could wrap its arms around me like an octopus's tentacles. But there's a fatal flaw in that plan. The arms aren't long enough. All I have to do is keep my forepaws locked on its head and body. After all, a dinosaur's core strength is nowhere near that of a modern mammal. Once down, staying down is almost guaranteed. Not even the famously agile Indominus Rex can break this rule. And unlike a mindless T-Rex, I'm not about to politely wait for it to get back up. I keep bearing down, feeling the life beneath me slowly fade. Then stillness. The Indominus Rex stops moving. I don't stop. I ease up just slightly, then drive forward with full force. A sharp crack. I sever its throat completely. No living creature comes back from that. I do it without much thought. I don't know if it might have been playing dead, so I make absolutely sure it isn't. Simon and his crew above watch as the battle below finally reaches its end. That incredible fight, no, that incredible hunt, leaves their jaws on the floor. From start to finish, from the moment I appeared to the very end, under 3 minutes total. In those 3 minutes, I delivered a masterclass in feline predation. The Indominus Rex, the monster they couldn't handle, went down that fast against something its own size. Looks like we should be very grateful he's on our side. Owen, already in the monitoring center watching the big screen alongside Claire, murmurs quietly. He genuinely cannot imagine what they would have done if my temperament matched the Indominus Rex's cruelty. Wait, everyone, I think you need to see this. What else could there possibly be? Isn't this over? Everyone, there is something enormous and it is moving fast toward the island. Based on its trajectory, it appears to be heading directly for White Tiger's location. Everyone stares at the strange red dot blinking on the screen, confused. No flight was scheduled to land at this time. Hello, is that a helicopter? Something just passed over us. Something is heading our way. Simon receives the reports too, but he's relaxed right now. No deaths, no injuries. He's heartbroken about the dinosaur losses, but as long as the genetic samples are intact, everything can be rebuilt. Right now, all he needs is to coax me back home. Hello, what's going on?